Good evening, everyone. We'll call to order the Oxnard City Council Community Services, Public Safety, Housing, and Development Committee meeting for September 12th, 2023. And Madam Clerk, if we can have a roll call and posting of the agenda, please.
Member Zaragoza,
Here.
Member Madrigal,
Here.
Chair McDonald.
Here.
We have a quorum, and the agenda for this meeting was posted on the City Hall Bulletin Board on September 5th, 2023.
Thank you. And if you would all rise and join me in saluting the flag of our nation. Please place your hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. This takes us to item B, public comments on items not on the agenda. This is a time and place for a person to address this committee for items that would be under the purview of this committee, but are not agendized. Please understand that we're unable to engage in any detailed discussion on these items, but we will likely refer it to staff. And I do have 5 requests to speak, and I'll call them in the order in which they were handed to me. First one is Roberto Salazar.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I came previously to address you in regards of the unpermitted corn, fruit, and any type of street vendors that are roaming the city of Oxnard. And the reason is our complaints are in regards of the permits that they have to pull. Nobody regulates them. The city of Oxnard, the health department, they don't regulate them. And we are really regulated, okay? So we need to do something about it. I suggested last time to see if there is any way that we can do any city ordinances or something like that in order to regulate them, because they are affecting our income. I have lost about 60% of my income due to these guys. So I need to see if the city is willing to do anything about it. This has been going for years. They're affecting restaurants and people that has permits to operate. That's basically my complaint. The city needs to do something about this. There's too many permitted vendors, too many permitted businesses that are being affected. And it seems to me that the city of Oxnard or the health department don't get together to work something out, to see how we can regulate these people. Or if we cannot regulate them the same way we are regulated, get them out of the streets. Just as simple as that. That's what I want to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Maria Hernandez. And Madam Clerk, I think she's going to use a translator, so we'll double the time.
Good evening.
Mi nombre es María Hernández.
My name is Maria Hernandez.
Quiero que seamos escuchados.
I want for us to be listened to.
Vendo nieve.
I sell ice cream.
Tengo todos mis permisos que son requeridos.
I have all of my required permits.
Okay. Y también, por favor, que si pueden ayudarnos para todas esas personas que venden.
Could you please help us? There are a lot of people that sell all those other things without permits.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Joel Sanchez.
Buenas tardes.
Good evening.
Ok, mi nombre es Joel Romero Sánchez.
Okay, my name is Joel Romero Sanchez.
Mi negocio es vender ice cream
My business is to sell ice cream.
and en el cual pago todos mis permisos
I pay for all of my permits.
de la ciudad, salubridad,
Health department, city.
pago estacionamiento,
I pay for parking.
placas comerciales,
I pay for my commercial license plates. I pay for my commercial insurance.
mis ganancias se han visto reducidas
My income has been reduced
acerca de las personas que trabajan
because of all of those people
sin permiso de la ciudad,
that are working without city permits.
Especialmente son los eloteros que venden de todo,
Especially the ones that sell elotes or corn.
venden raspados,
They also sell ices, chips.
venden elotes,
They're selling
venden
corn on the
mangos,
cob and mangoes.
en la cual pues yo quedo, ¿dónde quedo yo?
So where do I end up?
Por eso venimos a pedirle, pues a ver si
That's
puede hacer
why
algo.
we're here asking you to please do something for us.
Es todo.
That's all.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias. José Tapia.
Buenas tardes,
Good evening.
mi nombre es José Tapia.
My name is Jose Tapia,
Vengo igualmente a
and I'm
mis
here,
compañeros,
just like my colleagues over here,
las personas que venden
to
elotes
file a
y todo eso.
complaint against those people selling corn on the cob and everything. I have a business just like they
La
do,
verdad,
and truly,
ha estado se me ha reducido mucho mi negocio.
my business has gotten down a
Quisiera
lot.
que ustedes pusieran poquito
I wish for you to please pay a little bit of attention to this little problem. They're also selling unhealthy things with no permit.
no tienen permisos,
They have no permits,
no tienen la posibilidad de preparar una comida saludable.
and they don't have the ability to prepare healthful
Espero
meals.
que nos puedan ayudar.
I hope you can help us.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Y Marta Centeno.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Good evening, everyone.
Yo vengo a apoyar a los paleteros.
I'm here to support all the ones that sell ice pops.
Yo soy dueña de la comisaría Pacific Distributors.
I am the owner of Pacific Distributors Commissary.
Y yo he visto sus ganancias afectadas
I have seen how their income has been affected.
y también a mí me afecta porque si ellos venden menos.
It affects me too because if they sell less, they buy less from me.
Aparte, la ciudad se ve totalmente destruida,
And the city looks totally destroyed,
sucia.
dirty.
Hay puestos por cada esquina
There are these businesses in every corner.
y yo había oído que la ciudad estaba tratando de cambiar las leyes
I had heard that the city was trying to change some laws
acerca de los para no ir con las leyes del gobernador.
not to follow the governor's laws.
A mí me gustaría que me informaran acerca
I would like to be
de ese
informed
proceso
about that process
que están haciendo para poder cambiar algunas
that you're
leyes.
doing so some laws could be changed.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Madam Translator, if you can hang on just a second for me. I'm going to make some very generalized comments.
Le voy a hacer un
Bien.
comentario.
Okay. We have heard your concerns. We're having discussions at the staff level to address this, but it's very complex in that we have to work with the county of Ventura as well as the city of Oxnard. I'm going to ask you to speak with Miss Ashley Golden, who is our assistant city manager, who is overseeing the efforts that we're going to be undertaking, and we are hearing you, and we are planning on doing something. I just don't have a timeline. That's it. Thank you.
just to let you know that we've been trying to do this for over 10 years, since these people started arriving. And we've been told, I have met in the building of the Oxnard, in Oxnard, with the code enforcement head guy, with Mr. Gankel from the health department, and I have met with other people from the city of Oxnard in regards of to see if we can do anything about it. And every time that I hear is that we are working on that, and we're working on this, and we're working on this. And this has been for 5 years. And for 5 years, I'm telling you, my income has been reduced for nearly 10 years. So, I mean, how long do we have to wait?
Excuse me, Chair, committee members, we can't enter into detailed discussions on an item that's not on the agenda.
I
Okay,
understand that.
we've heard your comments. I'm going to have you speak with staff, and we're going to try and get you a better answer than what I can give you at this point.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chair, Mr. City Attorney, I just want to share with the gentleman that we are working on that with a deputy city manager too. Thank you.
Okay, that takes us to item C, consent agenda. This would be the city clerk's department. The request is that the Community Services, Public Safety, Housing and Development Committee approve the minutes of July 25th, 2023, regular meeting as presented. Have the committee members had an opportunity to read the minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Madrigal,
Second.
second by Mayor Zaragoza. Please vote.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, this takes us to item D1, City Manager's Department, consideration of the concept to transform the Carnegie Art Museum into the Carnegie Arts Center. The recommendation is that the Community Services, Public Safety, Housing and Development Committee received a report on the consideration to transform the Carnegie Art Museum into the Carnegie Arts Center. Discuss any additional items or questions the committee needs for this consideration, and determine if this item needs to return to committee or forward the item to City Council for further discussion. And pursuant to Measure M, there was a pre-recorded presentation and on the city's YouTube channel. The presenter will be Mr. Alexander Nguyen, our city manager. Do you have opening comments? Then I was going to take the speakers because we have a few speakers, and then we'll come back for future discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The only thing I'll say is, just to be clear, we're not looking for a fast decision on this. This is something that we believe needs to take its time, go through the public process, as many meetings as the council needs. With that, I'd like to turn it over for public comment. Thank you.
Okay. And I have, the first speaker I have is Tom Murphy.
Good evening, members of the City of Oxnard Community Services, Public Safety, Housing and Development Committee. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening, and to staff for putting together this interesting and informative report. My name is Tom Murphy, and I'm on the board of directors for Open Door Studio, a nonprofit 501c3 art studio located at 329 North 5th Street, which is right next to the Carnegie. I'm here to request your consideration of including adults with developmental disabilities in the vision statement for the Art Center, should its conversion from museum move forward. I'm also the proud father of Caroline, my 33-year-old daughter who has autism, who works hard at the Open Door to produce and sell her artwork. She also participates in the numerous community outreach events Open Door has been involved with, including public murals, Easter and Halloween events, Pride events, and various OPAC activities. Open Door is owned and operated by Director Roxanne Trujillo, who is here tonight. If you could raise your hand, Roxanne. Thank you. Open Door has recently been approved for vendor funding by Tri-County's Regional Center and is now in a position to accept many more artists into their program. Their challenge is space. We are excited to learn that the city is considering the conversion of the museum into an art center, and we're hopeful the disabilities community will have an opportunity to be part of it. So what we're proposing is a modification to the new vision statement on page 8 of the staff report that you have reviewed or are reviewing this evening. The first vision bullet item currently reads, formal arts instruction classes for the youth of the city's recreation programs during weekdays and summer day programs. Our suggestion revision to this vision bullet item is as follows, or something similar to it. Formal arts instruction classes and art production for city population communities that include the youth, the youth through the city's recreation programs during weekdays and summer day programs, and B, adults with developmental disabilities such as autism and Downs through a collaborative of the city and local artists during weekdays. As mentioned, Open Door is in the contract stages with Tri-County's Regional Center to become vendored through that organization. As such, the business operations, including rent, tuition, utilities, and other operations, will be subsidized in part by Tri-Counties and not by the city. I have been in communication with City Manager Alex Wen in this regard, and I'm hopeful that he too is in support of this proposal. Thank you for your time tonight, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, unfortunately, we can't ask you any questions. We're engaged in a lot of discussion, but thank you very much. We've heard your comments.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the next speaker, and I have 5 speakers headed up by Carrie. I know, I'm getting there. I've been around the block a few times, but I got this figured out here. So. And the main speaker will be Carrie Roscoe. Now, I also have speaker request cards from Joe Rund, Amy Chereau, and I apologize if I mess your names up. I brought the wrong pair of glasses to work tonight, so I'm flying a little bit blind here. Al Reda and Cesar Perez. And my understanding is that the 4 other speakers are ceding their time to Carrie, so you can speak on behalf of the whole group, and we will give you 15 minutes. And we also have your statement that you provided to us. The other board members have it, so come on up, and it's your show.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, committee members, staff, City Manager Nguyen. I'm Carrie Roscoe. My husband, Stacy Roscoe, and I have been involved with the Carnegie for more than 30 years, starting when he was working with Procter & Gamble here in Oxnard as public affairs. I'd like to introduce the board members and supporters that we have here tonight. Cesar Perez, our president, Amy Chereau, Joe Rund and his husband Al Reda, and we have several other board members who would have loved to have been here, but they are out of town. What we've done is, for the sake of cohesion and efficiency, prepared one little packet for you that raises a lot of the questions and concerns that we have concerning the proposal that's being put forth. And I'm just going to kind of quickly run through it so that you've got a sense and so that it's on record for anyone in the public who wants to look at what we're talking about. The staff report proposes changing the Carnegie Art Museum to an art center without the benefit of the permanent collection. In assessing the future of the Carnegie Art Museum and the collection, there are more than just financial aspects to be considered. There are social, educational, and cultural considerations as well. It's important for the committee to have a full perspective before deciding on referring this to City Council. We respectfully request that the committee declines to pass this proposal on to Council and that they allow time to address questions and concerns raised here and gather input from the community, the artists, and patrons. To that end, we have several areas that need to be considered. What the summary in the proposal packet does not tell you, and I've got 11 items on here. First, that the cost to reopen the Art Center would be comparable to reopening as the museum. Beyond the basics, the air conditioning system needs to be repaired and updated, and steps must be taken to repair or replace the antiquated lift system, which has never worked consistently, to meet the legal requirements for handicapped access, regardless of what the building is used for. 2, save for the salary of a museum director/curator, the ongoing costs of an art center, utilities, maintenance, staffing, security, etc., would be comparable to that of our museum. Yet the art center would serve fewer people with just afternoon and evening operations, and as I gather now, some summer classes, which were there before. 3, the building with no kitchen is limited in the size and type of events that can be held there, reducing the proposed rental income that's noted in the proposal significantly. Staffing and insurance costs would also reduce income. 4, the proposed classes were what the museum was already providing while utilizing examples from the collection to educate on art techniques and inspire creativity. The city would need to cover any of the costs for those classes that were formerly covered by the cornerstones. 5, this proposal does not offer any creative options or thinking outside the box ideas to keep the collection until a future generation can support it better. There are possibilities for keeping it and partnering as a satellite museum with other museums, lending or loaning for a fee of art that you have out to other major museums, a lot of which I've listed, plus the other 2 local museums, Santa Paula Art Museum and the Museum of Ventura County. The other big issue that we don't see addressed here is number 6. The museums hold collections in the public trust for the public access. Guidelines of the American Alliance of Museums and the Association of Art Museum Directors allow for funds from deaccessioning of art in a permanent collection to be used only for direct care of objects in a museum's collection, with very specific parameters on what direct care is. These funds may not be used for capital expenses, staff salaries, or exhibitions. Another item not raised in the proposal is the legal issues that could arise in deaccession of donated art in the collection, depending on the nature of the bequest. We have things from the Lannan Foundation and another that are very restrictive in terms of how they can be handled. Number 8, by converting the museum to an art center and deaccessioning the collection, the city will lose the potential to use the museum as a cornerstone of downtown redevelopment. And this has been something that we have been working with the city on for quite some time. In 2016, the Congress for the New Urbanism, in conjunction with the city and the Oxnard Community Planning Group, conducted a multi-day charrette which envisioned downtown arts cluster with an expanded Carnegie, visitor accommodations, affordable housing with live-work units for artists, etc. While the downtown revitalization stalls, Oxnard will remain a hub-and-spoke city. It's a stay here, but you're sightseeing elsewhere, as opposed to a destination. And this has significant financial impacts for Oxnard in the future. That the ERA report that was included in the proposal that the Carnegie Cornerstones had commissioned and paid for, now almost 2 decades ago, found that the area demographics and growth would support a museum expansion, and that the, quote, potential benefits of a museum expansion are numerous in both the Carnegie's ability to generate higher attendance and earn income, unquote, and could provide, quote, numerous economic and cultural benefits to the city residents and businesses, end quote. There has to be a vision for the future, economically, socially, culturally for Oxnard, and if you are not growing, you are dying. The other thing not noted in the proposal is the progress and growth of the museum and the collection, and the community interest and support. In the 4 years prior to the museum's abrupt closing, annual on-site visitors increased from 9,747 to 14,850. In the 6 months prior to closure, the social media and online visitors served averaged 13,620 a month, and 4 to 5 newsletters were sent out per month with an average opening of 1184. Another issue has to do with references to the Cornerstone's lack of extensive fundraising. Nowhere in the 2010 management agreement with the city or in the staff report to council were there any stated expectations of deliverables or metrics for the Cornerstones to fundraise for the museum's operating expenses. That was expected to continue to be a city responsibility. We were just going to deliver better value for the same amount of expenditure. We took on management to devote more focused attention to excellence in museum education and programming than was provided by the library director under whose purview the Carnegie fell at that time in 2009. When a later city budget crisis occurred, it was the previous city manager, the one we had now, and the finance department that, needing money, began penalizing the museum budget with less funding, forcing the Cornerstones into raising operating funds to cover the city's shortfall. Without any contractual basis, the city started holding the Cornerstones accountable for unattainable monetary goals while neatly shrinking their own financial obligations. Another item in terms of the progress and growth of the museum. With the assistance of the Cornerstones, the museum received over 200 artworks donated by area art collectors, community members, and the artists themselves. The Cornerstones were directly involved in helping fund the Frank Romero mural, History of the Chicano Movimiento, John Valadez's huge pastel painting, Europa, and Gronk's Tormenta. Despite a lack of a functioning museum for the last several years, the Carnegie Art Cornerstones currently serves 1,153 newsletter subscribers with a 58% open rate and 1,241 Instagram followers. There is definitely interest in the arts in Ventura and in County, and in Oxnard in particular. Following the 2020 passage of Measure E, the city conducted a survey and found that reopening, the Carnegie was in the top 10 desired areas for allocation of that sales tax increase, which I think speaks to the level of commitment in the community. Number 10, the educational impacts of your proposal were not in the report. When the museum was open, 1,500 to 4,000 students came through the Carnegie annually on class tours to view a high-quality museum collection. For many, this was their first and only in-person exposure to the fine arts. It is estimated that prior to closure, 80% of Oxnard school students had had the opportunity to visit the Carnegie. With statewide gutting of the fine arts programs in schools, the museum provided much-needed educational balance. Our educational curator provided teacher packets and lessons for before and after the visits to support our teachers. The museum has also been a teaching resource for area colleges with class visits and opportunities to study art firsthand. Every single college has told us what the loss of the museum closure has been to them, as they need a local museum of the Carnegie's caliber for student assignments. Also, college seniors have relied on the Carnegie's collection to complete their capstone projects. Guest lecturers, gallery talks, artists in the classrooms, family days, off-site projects, and studio visits also provided added educational benefits. And the annual TRAC conference brought college educators, artists, and professionals in the fine art fields to the Carnegie. What was also not included in the proposal was the social and cultural impact on the community pride and self-worth. The quality and caliber of the collection is excellent, especially for a small museum. The collection was started in 1922, and with community support for 100 years has grown to encompass over 1,000 works of art from hundreds of artists. The citizens of Oxnard have worked hard to grow the collection and support the museum. These artworks represent some of the best artists in Southern California, many of whom have gained national and international acclaim and are collected by major museums across the country. The collection includes an impressive assembly, one of the nicest collections I've ever seen, short of the Cheech, of significant works by major Latino artists that serve as a source of pride for the community in their culture and traditions. Don't the citizens of Oxnard deserve to keep their collection? Don't they deserve a quality museum like the Carnegie? Again, we respectfully request the committee decline to pass on the proposal to council and that they allow time to address questions and concerns raised here and gather input from the community, artists, and the patrons. Respectfully, the Carnegie Art Cornerstones Board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, I have a note here that Duranda Martin wished to call in to speak. Is she available?
Yes, she's available virtually. Duranda Martin, please press *6 to unmute, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. Okay, thank you. Okay. Good evening, committee members. Thank you so much for providing me the opportunity to speak at this meeting. I'm Duranda Martin, representing the Artist Freedom Family nonprofit organization as its founder, and concerning the reformation of the operation of the Carnegie Art Museum. The Artist Freedom Family would like to strongly propose consideration of the Carnegie as the new home for our multicultural creative establishment. In March of 2021, we met with Terrell Harrison and his assistant, Julie Estrada, to make an initial proposal for the occupation of the space, but were informed that they were uncertain at the time as to the fate of the Carnegie. Presently, as considerations are being made about the new nature of the Carnegie's operations, we feel this is the perfect time to refresh our proposal for occupancy. The overall vision of the Carnegie's future under our care in the service to our community is exposure to individual multicultural artists, artistic ways and traditions under the instruction and guidance of rooted cultural bearers that we already have a relationship with, training and instruction in classes and workshops in diverse dance styles for professional development and personal enjoyment, offering of a creative and fine arts workshop series that goes beyond simply learning fundamentals and techniques of artistic systems, but emphasizing the unique identity's personal touch as the essence of the learning experience, performing arts events showcasing professional cultural bearing artists, as well as bold and creatively progressive collaborative experiences between dance and non-dance artists. Annual art exhibitions showcasing both fine artworks and moving physical artwork, as well as offering the opportunity for community artists to hold exhibitions of their own works. Preservation of this space and personal time for community artists to utilize for artistic growth and development. Preservation of space for community artists to host meetings, conferences, as well as other forms of artistic community gatherings. A safe space for youth and young adult performance groups to hold classes, training, and artistic development. This future that we envision for the Carnegie under the Creative Freedom Family's care is a present reality for us just down the street at 108 East 5th Street. We are proposing something that we already have the operating experience to manage and deliver. It is our mission. The Carnegie facility would allow us to expand
30 seconds.
The expansive space to service the artistic development needs and desires of more local artists, as well as expand our programming that is just beyond. We are a size 20 in a size 10 dress in our space, and we need an extra 10. We request to meet with Alex Nguyen, this Oxnard city manager, to further discuss this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Pat Brown. Pat Brown.
I know that a lot of museums actually have a paid staff. This is a big mistake. Big mistake. I'm with the Aviation Museum at Camarillo Airport, and I have been since it started in 1981. I volunteer there 3 days a week, and I have for a long time, for many years, maybe 20, 25 years. And I've also gone with the big airplanes to all kinds of air shows, been all over the country, flying around in old World War II airplanes, if you can imagine. But we don't have anybody paid staff. We have 35 or 40 people coming in there as members 3 days a week and volunteering their time to work on the airplanes, get their hands all dirty and greasy, give tours through the museum, sell merchandise like hats and t-shirts and pins and patches and all kinds of stuff relating to us. And we've built huge, big buildings on the airport. And I don't understand why you have to pay somebody. I think we need this museum here in Oxnard. We're the largest city in the county. And if you knew, I have brochures for a list of all of the museums in Ventura County, and I'll be happy to drop some off to the office in a few days. I think you'll be shocked at how many museums we have. And we need them because they bring people out of town who are going to spend money here. Get it? I mean, I can't see spending money on somebody to come and sit at the front desk and answer the phone and take money when the people come in and want to volunteer or want to go through the museum, want a tour. I don't see it. And we are very, very happy at our museum. And if any of you want to come, and make an appointment ahead of time, so make sure that I'm there. I will take you around. You won't believe what you'll see. But we do charge, or we don't charge. We ask for $10 per person, but we still let them in anyway if they don't pay anything.
Thank you.
Most of them pay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the last speaker I have is Suki Sir.
Chair McDonald, we also have one virtual speaker.
Okay.
Okay,
I was going to ask that question next, but
Okay.
I'll take it.
Good evening, thank you. I'm Suki Sir, and I've lived in Oxnard for 23 years. I've been to the Carnegie twice. I went once just randomly to see, oh, there's a museum here, to see what was in there. And one time I went to a Jack Kerouac poetry exhibition there, which was really great and memorable. As a veteran of 20 years in the music industry, 5 years with Condé Nast at Vanity Fair, and 3 years with Louise Brown Media, who published Art and Auction, Modern Painters, The Gallery Guide, Culture and Travel, I appreciate how important arts are to our culture and our community. Including art and culture in our lives not only improves our mental health, but boosts our self-esteem, improves critical thinking skills, promotes communication with others, even if I didn't like your record, develops resilience and enhances confidence. Artistic and cultural activities are essential to our well-being, economic and cultural vitality, and our sense of identity and heritage. I believe it is time to reopen the Carnegie, but as our city manager said, it's not going to happen quickly. I've been reviewing this toolkit that Chicago Metropolitan Arts Council created for an arts and culture toolkit, which would be very interesting to look at and study. I just want to say that also I'd want to take it a step further and call it the Carnegie Cultural Arts Center to celebrate and bring a sense of cultural pride and make it relevant to our community members. I want to say art is for everyone and more art is better. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And Madam Clerk, this is where I would have asked the question. Do we have any additional speakers, either online or in person?
Yes, Chair McDonald, we have one virtual speaker. Caller with phone number ending in 2981, please press *6 to unmute, and you have 3 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Odette Moran. My pronouns are they, them, ella. I'm a longtime South Oxford resident and very curious to see what the Carnegie Art Museum becomes. I wonder what Cree artist Freedom Family can do with the space as an art center and how the permanent collection can continue to live in its home. I used to work at the Carnegie, helping the curator with installation, leading school tours, as an art teacher when needed, and helping with archives. I remember the deep sadness I felt when I grabbed such great works of art in the permanent collection when it closed. It was actually the first thing I did after getting my bachelor's, and I was really happy to see that this was on the agenda today. I also know what this museum was like when it was open, and felt like something was missing. I really loved doing the tours and leading art classes, but general public access felt off. Not a lot of people knew that the Carnegie was open. I was the weekend staff and know that a lot of people didn't visit the Carnegie in the weekends. I've been hopping from art spaces ever since COVID allowed, and my favorite right now is Creative Freedom Family because of the open and loving space that they create. I think they potentially have a lot of love and care to have both of what the Carnegie was and see what more it can become. But the hard general truth is that there's a lot of interest in the space, and local artists need a space to showcase their art alongside with their permanent collection. I'm wondering if there's any possibility to have a community town hall to envision the space a bit more and see how both community and local artists as well as groups can be included in the conversation and discussion. More community engagement is needed, especially with this growing interest and need a space for our local arts community. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really excited to see hopefully the Carnegie open in time to come. And yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for your comments. And Madam Clerk, one final check. Are there any more speakers, public or virtually?
Chair McDonald, there's no additional speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nguyen.
Thank you. Thank you for all the public comments. I understand the sensitivity and I appreciate the critique, but I have to say you're kind of off the mark because I'm not introducing a plan here, I'm introducing a concept. So many of the things you raised, we're not even there yet. So, for example, especially the most important thing is what would happen to the collection. I'm keenly aware of the significance and the ethical responsibility this community has for the collection. So there's no plan because there are no plans presented here because we're looking right now at starting a public conversation to discuss the concept. Right? If and when we get to the planning, I assure you there would be very, very carefully thought through plans. And I understand, again, the ethics around the collection, and no one is suggesting that we would simply deassess the entire collection. So I think comments about the cost of the building, that's obvious to us. Whatever happens there, there's cost to maintain the building. We understand all these issues. The distinction I want to draw for the committee, though, is the difference between a municipal museum, be it art or history or anything else, a municipal museum versus a museum, a privately run museum. And you can see the comparisons there that we've updated to the same 14 museums that were compared to in that ERA report. You can see what their budgets are and the fact that very few of them have any public funding anymore. And I know it's a sad thing, but there are no more municipal art museums in California. You might be lucky to find one or two. They're gone. And I can also tell you, because I do have experience working with municipal museums, and I can tell you right now, the city of Oxnard, we're not capable of running an art museum. Now, that does not mean someone else can't, right? But I'm telling you, we can't. This bureaucracy, we can't do it. It would take way too much of investment for us to make it work. I understand there's a lot of interest for this space, but I remind everyone, it's not that big. So whatever we end up doing here, this space can never be everything for everybody all at once. There's just physically not that much space. I think we should be open to it. I certainly endorse what Mr. Murphy said, one of the earlier public speakers, about incorporating a space where communities with different needs can participate and produce their artwork, and also, importantly to what he said, is also in part make a living doing it. I think that's important. Our recreation staff already works with the special needs community, so we have some good experience there. So again, this is meant to kick off the public discussion about this concept. I believe that a municipal museum, again, I don't believe we can do it. They don't exist anymore. You can go down the list of all the California museums that at one time were municipal museums. They no longer are. We can't do it. It's possible that someone else can do it. But that ERA report that you have attached here, I think if you look at it in depth, it speaks to how difficult it was then, and I'm convinced that it would be very, very difficult now. I know this is a difficult conversation, and it is a shame that we make this proposal at all with regard to giving that up. But I also believe it's a shame that a city of this age and population, that we also don't have a city archive, which is another thing I think that is significant that I wish we did have, because I do believe on that front we're not collecting our history, and we're probably losing it every day. So the reason I propose the Arts Center is I think the value of the Carnegie building itself being associated with arts is important and is significant to the future of downtown. I just don't believe that it can be successful as a municipal art museum. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open it up to committee members. Mayor, any comments?
Mr. Chair, I just want to thank the Carnegie Cornerstone presentation. Terry, you did an excellent presentation. And I was reading the recommendation you have, and I've worked with Stacy for many, many events, and how's he doing?
He's doing great, same as always.
I remember Stacy worked for Procter & Gamble for a long, long time, and my son still works for Procter & Gamble. So. But I believe, as the city manager said, that it's important that we have a arts center, for the city of Oxnard. The concept right now, as you mentioned, transforming the Carnegie Arts Museum to an arts center, I think is extremely important. And I believe that some of the summary information that was not included in the packet, Stacy, and also to the Cornerstone concerns are really important. For example, the cost of reopening, the center, the salaries of the museums, the utilities, and so forth. One of the things that the city manager mentioned is the size of the kitchen. The size of the museum is not big enough for a lot of events. So we're going to have to potentially limit those events. But I think the important thing that was mentioned by the Cornerstone Committee is your last statement, that we do not send that to the City Council yet, that we look at it, that we come back and have a lot of the questions and concerns that are raised here today by inviting input from the community, from the artists, from the patrons in the city, because this is our museum, and we just absolutely love it. Every time that somebody comes into the city, I want to take him to the Carnegie because it's such an icon, for the community, and of course, the trust of the collections. I want to go see. In fact, I mentioned to the city manager, I'm not seeing the collections, so I wouldn't know what I'm seeing anyway, but I want to go see him anyway with somebody that knows how the collections. And I know I talked to the city manager about that, and also the other important part that you mentioned was Mr. City Manager, Measury. How much money do we have for Measury on that for that item, and also the education impacts was extremely important. I know that when I went to university, the first thing the professor said, you have arts, English, and math. If you don't have art, if you don't English or math, you have those three components that make a well-educated person, So I think it's extremely important. So that having the resources for our colleges, for our students, I think is important. And of course, the social and cultural impacts are really, really important. I remember as a council member and also supervisor and now as mayor, many executives would come over to Oxnard and say, do you have a museum? Do you have a performing arts center? Do you have a golf course? Even though a lot of people say that. And what's a rating in the schools from 1 to 10? This cultural end of it is extremely important, Mr. Chair, to all of us. And I think that the idea here from the Cornerstone concerns are really important, that we continue to the dialogue and continue to get the input as a committee before we even take it to the full city council. And as the city manager mentioned, this is a concept to transform the Carnegie Building to an arts center, which I think it's really important for the entire community. So there's a lot of good work here, and I think we need a lot more input from all concerned, just for my understanding.
Thanks, sir. Member Madrigal.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everyone that came out this afternoon for this. Call it a museum, call it a art museum, art center, cultural art center. The most important aspect of this is we need to open this to the community. We could, honestly be here for the next decade fighting over what is best use of the area. And at the end of the day, I think, whatever way it goes, might 60-40 or whatever, 70-30, 51-49, you're not going to get a consensus. But I do believe a consensus is that, it's been closed for 4+ years. And I think, the memories that the Carnegie Art Museum had, are slowly, in a way, fading away from the public, from the community. It's something that we talk about. I've been there, I went there, but it's something that, maybe someone else has no idea what it was or what it could be. And, I'm in favor of starting this process. I know there's going to be grueling. I know there's going to be questions, concerns, but I do feel it's a step in the right direction, that we're hopeful that something will be there, something where we could get together as a community and enjoy the arts, as was previously stated, and even something, as a teacher, first thing I critique to myself about at every yearly meeting is, usually when things get difficult and you fall behind in certain aspects, what's the first thing you actually take away? And to me, it's actually the cultural aspect of the class. It's always the first one to go, simply because, you have to hurry and do X, Y, and Z. So you remove probably the most crucial part. And, been here on council for 6+ years, and I know that, when tough economic times come, usually the first thing that goes is the arts. So, we have an opportunity to reopen this, and, wherever the process may lead us, as long as the Carnegie reopens, I will more than gladly go with it. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. I probably spent a couple hours reading through this today. And ordinarily when stuff comes to committee, we're asked to make a recommendation to council. And here, I'm not really seeing the recommendation. This is kind of just an idea. And I'm not going to say that I'm opposed to the idea, but I would prefer to see a little more information, especially based on the comments we've received tonight, before we just say, send it to council and let them discuss it. I would like to be able to take a position one way or another. And looking at the totality of the report, while it starts out with a very good basis, I think it can use a little bit more fine tuning, maybe distilling some of the comments that were given to us tonight, answering them. And my preference would be to have this come back to committee before we send it forward to council, but I will open that to the other council members to see their feelings.
I believe we should, Mr. Chair, and I think it's important that we actually get all the information and input from, as was mentioned, from the arts community, from the business community, from others that is really, really important. And one thing that was mentioned by one of the speakers was not only is this going to be a great art center, and also it's an economic engine, because it brings funding to the community. People come and they want to see Oxnard, they want to look at the beach, they want to look at downtown, and that Carnegie building is just a beautiful building, So yes, I believe we need some more input on this item.
Okay. Member Montreal?
That would be my recommendation.
I agree. Second. And that's the recommendation.
Okay, so that would be a motion from you then?
Yes, sir. That'd be
and a second from you? Please vote.
Mm-hmm.
Motion passes 3-0.
And again, I just want to thank, the Cornerstone and Stacy for excellent presentation, and all the Cornerstone members and other members of the community, because we need this. This is good input, and we need, as I mentioned before, the input from the community, the artists, and also the patrons of the Carnegie. So thank you.
Thank you. And just so everybody understands, the committee is asking for more information.
Yes, sir.
And asking it to come back to committee before it goes to council.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Okay, that takes us to item number 2. From the fire department, the subject is paramedic/emergency medical technician, EMT, student education agreement for field internship with Ventura County Community College District. And the recommendation is that the Community Services, Public Safety, Housing, and Economic Development Committee recommend that the City Council authorize the city manager to enter into a paramedic, emergency medical technician, student education agreement for field internship with the Ventura County Community College District for a 5-year term at no cost. And in reading through this, I'm presuming that it's going to be primarily through Ventura College that we're going to do this, since that was the dean that is involved in it. But because I know there's a fire sciences program at Oxnard College, but this looks like the medical EMT side is from Ventura. Would that be correct?
Mayor Pro Tem, that's correct. The only paramedic program is currently at the Ventura College campus, and I believe Moore Park College is starting a program as well, but Oxnard College does not currently have one.
Okay. And pursuant to Measure M, there was a pre-recorded presentation video on the city's YouTube channel, and I will open it up to committee members. Do you have any questions or comments, Mayor?
I was reading through it. I think that that's a good program. It's an internship program. Is that correct? So for potential EMTs, is that the way it works?
It's a field internship program for paramedic students. They already have to be EMTs. Paramedics a higher level in the EMT line.
It goes from EMT to paramedic.
Correct. And the way the program works, they have a classroom and didactic and clinical parts to the program, and then once they've successfully completed that, they start their field internship program, which usually takes about anywhere from 2 to 3 months.
And reading and listening to the video was that also the this is really going to help us because of the density of the community in Oxnard. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
What the fire chief was talking about in the video and the density of Oxnard is that this is a good location for paramedic students to come and get their field training because we run a lot of calls in the city. We're a busy fire department. So it's more advantageous to be a paramedic intern here than, say, a city somewhere else that was slower, that didn't have as many opportunities for somebody to practice their newly learned skills.
And I think it's important, Assistant Chief, because I've always heard, that south of Woolley Road, we have 100,000 people that live in or plus. The density there is extreme, so this would really, really be a good practice place, for it. Or location.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think it's a good program, Mr. Chair.
Member Madrigal.
No, thank you. I think it'll bring a benefit to the community. So I'm all for this. So thank you.
I would agree. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Motion to.
Excuse me, Chair McDonald.
See, you got me all off track. I blew it that time.
We have no speakers virtually or in person for this item.
And I almost had a perfect record, too. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion by Mayor Zaragoza, a second by Member Madrigal. Please vote.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, excellent. That takes us to item number 3 from the Police Department. Fifth Amendment with Speak Right LLC for transcription services. Recommendation is that the Community Services, Public Safety, Housing, and Development Committee recommends that City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute a Fifth Amendment to the Trade Services Agreement for Speak Right LLC, increasing the not-to-exceed value from $200,000 to $275,000 and extending the contract to June 30th, 2025. Pursuant to Measure M, there was a required pre-recorded video on the city's YouTube channel. And Madam Clerk, do we have anyone that would like to speak either in person or virtually?
Chair McDonald, we have no speakers virtually or in person for this item.
So I'm batting 66% here. So.
You're doing good.
Mayor, any comments?
Yes, I think we probably have somebody from the police department. So this is a Fifth Amendment for the Speak Right LLC, I think is the agency that's helping for the transcription services. And my understanding is that Beth, right?
Yes.
I understand that this is really going to help us with the new products that help sworn officers and professional staff to dictate the items into the dictation that will help expedite the work. Is that how does that work? In other words,
Yes, so our police agency is a full dictation, so officers dictate their reports. We have a staff word processing unit that transcribes and then enters everything into the mobile department system before it transfers into the actual report. However, we have been very short-staffed for the past year. And so this transcription service helps our staff as well as the newer officers in training. They learn how to better dictate the reports, how to process, how to format the reports. And then for our investigative team, they use it for interviews, for telephone calls, things like that, Spanish translation, transcription, and it on investigations that need to be hurried along, it provides a quick turnaround.
So Beth, an officer goes out to a scene, an accident, whatever it is. Does he then dictate that? Okay.
That is
and then
correct.
that dictation or that audio then goes to the transcription. Okay, and expedites the work.
Correct.
Oh.
It assists with public safety because it keeps the officers in the field and reduces their administrative downtime.
Excellent, yeah. I know when I was in the county, they had the young ladies and young men that went out to share what's happening with children. And they would dictate Well, they would write and then go back into the office and type it out and so forth. And now they give them dictation, and now with that, they can transcribe it right into the mainframe.
Correct.
Which really, really helped a lot.
Correct. And our staffing is increasing. It's just when we hire new staff, as many of you know, we have to go through the background process, and then it is a 6-month training regimen that they have to go through before they're able to fully operate solo. And so that downtime, in addition to our staffing numbers being lower, has just caused the speak rate, our kind of lean on the speak rate system a little bit more than normal.
And Beth, I think also in your report, you said it's going from 200,000 to 275,000.
That is correct.
And it's going to extend the contract to June 30, 2025.
That is correct.
That's not bad.
And the third and fourth amendments did not increase funds at all, because when we were fully staffed, we didn't need to add funds. We were only amending time. And so the extension of time and funds is truly more of a staffing issue than anything.
And lastly, Mr. Chair, I think this is really great because once the officer or the professional person dictates it for audio, I mean, it becomes a permanent record, and they don't have to be remembering of what happened and they have it right there and then, which is,
that is correct.
For legal purposes, it'll help us tremendously.
That is correct.
And investigations. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilmember?
No comment.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll reminisce a little bit. When I first came on board, we were provided manually operated thought transfers and capture devices to do this task. We now call them pens and pencils. This is a much more efficient way of doing it. It spells better and writes better than I could when I first got hired. And
punctuation too.
Yeah. So I think this is well worth it. So I would move the recommended action.
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk, I made the motion. Oh, do we have any speakers on this?
You're almost there.
Almost blew it.
I think you already asked that, but no, we do not have any speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Thank you very much. Okay, I made the motion. Councilmember Madrigal made the second. Please vote.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you very much. And are there any items for future agendas?
Thank you.
No?
No, I don't.
Chief, if you want to hang around for a little bit and spend quality time with us, you're welcome to do so.
Of course, other than...
No, you're going to pass, huh?
Other than bringing the Carnegie building...
Thank you all. This meeting is adjourned.
I was going to say the future agenda we